Welcome to Salt, Sage and Stardust, the podcast where spirit meets real life and intuition leads the way. Every episode, your hosts, Dr. Vicki Haspels and Keryn Rose, dive into the energy of what's shifting in the cosmos, in the collective and within ourselves. And we're live! Good evening, Miss Vicki. How are you, honey?
Hi, Keryn. I'm well, thanks. How are you today on this fine podcast day?
Very well. Thank you very much. Very well indeed. It's been a glorious day here, and I've had lots of glorious conversations with lovely people. It's been a fab day. It really, really has. And I'm so looking forward because this is being recorded at the evening for both of us. So we're ending our day on a magical, magical note, full of our salt, sage, and stardust energy. And what are we weaving it into today, Vicki?
Well, Keryn, after our last podcast, a little subject come up about commitment, and I suggested that might be a great subject to explore. And as I started to dive into the subject of commitment and we had a bit of a chat about it, I thought, this is actually bigger than Ben-Hur. So,
Okay, why do you say that?
Simply because it starts to branch out not only into some of the subjects that we've already covered, but also too, I can see it actually branching out into further discussions, because commitment lends itself to other actions and behaviors and ways of being that we are, how we express ourselves as spiritual beings that originate from the commitment conversation. And I found it. I had to make sure that I didn't go into too many different rabbit holes. Tried to keep it
Indeed.
as as simple as possible, but also to as relatable as possible as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, again, for me, and I feel I'm going to be bold and talk for the two of us, the objective, the purpose of this podcast is to keep the information relatable and practical and, excuse me, I'm going to use the word simple. And I'm not wanting to diminish what we talk about, but simply keeping it simple. When we talk about commitment and how does it impact on our lives and what do we do about it?
Yeah. Digestible. I like that.
Yeah. It's we're blessed that we have these three pillars of salt, sage, and stardust. And again, it's acknowledging we are human beings, we're sage, that link the energy of Mother Earth, the salt, to the energy of what's above, the stardust. And that reiteration, that reminder every time we're in this podcast to go, hey guys, this is about you. It's not about you being a mother, you being a partner, you being a CEO, you being a cleaner, you being a retail worker. This is about you, the individual. This is you, the human. You have a name. There's an energy that runs through you and makes you you. And commitment, OMG. There's commitment to self and there's commitment to others. And this got me smiling as I was doing my reading, because when I hear the word commitment, I think of marriage. That's the first thing I thought of when I was talking to you. And the vows that are there, the pledges we make in this contract that we call a wedding. Excuse me. And I feel, for me, because of my Libran sun, innately I'm thinking of others. So it took me by surprise when I asked myself, well, Keryn, what are you going to commit to yourself? And I go, oh, commit to self? It took my breath away. I'm thinking, wow. And quite seriously, When I think commitment, automatically I'm thinking of doing it to others. I'm externalizing it.
Yeah.
It's not about me. But in doing a little bit of research for this podcast, I thought, OMG, it actually starts with me
Yeah.
when it comes
Yeah.
to the power of commitment. Would you agree? It starts with
I
self.
do. It does. It's so important to consider oneself before everybody else. And I'm not saying that in a selfish way. It it means that if you are strong and committed to something for yourself, whether it's a value, whether it's a practice that you'd like to do for yourself, you can't be of assistance or commit to anybody else if the foundation is not secure, and the foundation is you. And so
Yeah.
everything starts with the self. No matter what we talk about, it
Yeah.
always must start with the self, and that's the salt part of
It really is that
how we
practical
commit.
anchor, isn't it?
Practical anchor, correct?
It's
Yep,
showing
yep,
up day after day, even in the small things.
yep. The act of like the as you mentioned, the word commitment, just it makes always makes me want to run a million miles. Not so much for marriage, but more so. Well, I always think about committing to buying a house or staying in one place. I have very I just can't seem. I haven't been able to settle all of my life, and the thought of committing to one place and just being in one space just threw me. But when I was reflecting on the other subject and looking through my notes and things like and reflecting on myself, I thought, you know what? I've actually committed to something much more important than those physical things. I committed to something for myself without even realizing that I was doing it.
Isn't
Yeah.
that a beautiful realization?
Yes, I loved it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
that really is
and
precious.
yeah, and with that came the understanding and a lot gentler to myself that what, as much as I've had that sort of restless lifestyle, it actually came with a gift, and
Yes.
I was able to put focus on something that was more important to me, and I honoured the things that were important to me, and ran away from the things that weren't.
Yeah.
And I didn't
It's,
commit to. Yeah,
yeah, look, that, as I said, truly a powerful realization.
yeah,
I just had fireworks going off when I realized commit to yourself, Keryn. And I feel when I think back to how I left my marriage, that was a commitment to me. My heart had got my attention,
yeah,
and I keep saying to myself, it had nothing to do with the fact, but I love this man. And I go, yeah, but what about you?
yeah,
You're committing to the other, and there was no denying that, yes, there was something there, but what about for you? And I got
yeah,
to go, yeah, no, it starts with me.
yeah,
So, yeah, that salt perspective of that, me committing to having a garden means in the hot days, I get up early in the morning and I water. And you know what? It matters. It takes me back to that podcast episode we did on It
yes,
Matters. It does matter.
yeah,
Everything does matter when
yeah,
you are committed to something.
yeah,
More hours of sleep, eating cleaner food, drinking more water,
yeah,
whatever it is, it's a commitment. It's something that you're saying, yeah, I am promising to myself, fill in the blank. And I'm
yeah,
honoring the integrity of my word when
yeah.
I do that.
And one of the things that, talking about that, honoring the integrity of the word, one of the things that kept popping up for me when I was doing my reading was the word trust. Without a level of commitment, it builds up a level of trust. And so when we start to commit to ourselves, and I was thinking about external committing to others, but committing that practice for oneself, you start to trust who you are because you start to work out who you are.
And
And
again, beautiful, isn't it?
yes, And it didn't occur to me, actually, while you, of my personal story, I was going to use a different personal story about my commitment to myself, but I realised that the very first time that I committed to something deeply was the very first time I sat down in meditation class. I had no idea what I was walking into. I was doing it for a particularly whole other reason. And that very first class that I sat down in, the connection I had with myself, the connection I had with the spirit world, and how it opened things up for me, I could not commit time to it or and energy to it. And when we talk about a commitment to the self, it was through that practice of meditation that I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know that I didn't know. And that's really, thinking about it, it's really sad. And
Well,
I
I
thought that
would
was
I would
perfectly
challenge
fine.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
You knew what you needed to know to get you where you were.
where I was. True, correct. Yeah,
And I'm kind of glad that I don't know what I don't know, so I don't have an opportunity to feel anything about it. I'm happy to learn to rejoice in what I do know,
yeah,
and trust that when the next little bit of information wants to drop in,
yeah,
it will. Therein
yeah,
lies that magic. But what I love about what you're sharing is, for how I'm seeing it, is this sage bit where you're embodying commitment.
yes,
It's
yeah,
like you are seeing boundaries, or not seeing boundaries. Those
yeah,
boundaries are
yeah,
extending out, and
yeah,
there's a certain level of discipline required, and it's being
yeah,
met with kindness
yeah,
because we're listening to our body and we're going, yes, I am here for you. Because let's be honest, imagine this body is the outside, a vehicle, the body of a car. Look after it and it will be there for you for a long time. Don't look
yeah,
after it and it'll crumble, rust, collapse, whatever it is. So that committing to the body, the sage part, is aligning everything that is us from that physical perspective. It's aligning our energy, it's aligning our breath, it's aligning our presence,
yeah.
in taking a
It,
commitment.
yeah. I was going to say it, by embodying the commitment in the sage perspective for me, is about taking action in that
Okay.
when you work out for example, with the salt part, when you work out what you are actually committing to, and I'm going to refer back to our values podcast that we did last week. You can use one of your values, and I'll encourage you to go to our Substack, and we've got a nice little thing there where you can work out and align with your values and find out what's most strongest for you. Once you can use that as your anchor. And then for me, the sage part of it is, how are you going to express that? How are you going to enact that and strengthen that? Because as you mentioned, it connects to the inner part of who we are, and it
Absolutely.
allows us to like take things to the next level, test it out. Is this really who I am? Is this really what I want to do? And sometimes, we can chop and change. It doesn't matter how we express it. When we work out what our anchor is about what we're committing to, how we express it can be a lifelong commitment or something, a little course that you might do for 4 weeks.
Absolutely.
But testing it out, feeling it, being it all part of your body, that to me is that wisdom that we gain, that connection to a deeper part, or the core of who we are.
What you have just shared is reminding me of the layers of commitment, which you
Yes.
could really say the salt, sage, and stardust pillars that we have are layers of who we
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah.
so, from the stardust perspective, the a commitment becomes it takes on a sacred energy.
Yeah.
It's a soul vow,
Yeah.
and it's aligning with those higher octaves and saying yes to the call of spirit. Because everything we do in the physical world impacts on the spirit side of us, whether we're conscious of it or not. And I feel that our podcast is inviting the listener to be conscious that when you do something, if you're going to commit to meditation every day, that is absolutely going to have an impact on the Stardust perspective of who you are by the very nature of what you are committing to. As our weather is drying up and not so rainy, I'm a wuss. I don't like walking in the rain. It's just not my jam. But I will be committing to getting out and greeting the sun and seeing the sunrise again. And it's going to have a physical impact on me, absolutely. And it is going to have an impact on the Stardust version of who I am because of the sacredness for me that I see when I see a sunrise.
That Stardust connection, that cosmic growth of committing to something. I love that the soul vow. I love that phrase. That's so chef's kiss. It's just
it is, isn't it? It is.
It really does. It has its own vibration,
Yeah.
and I couldn't put it any better.
Thank you.
That
So look,
to
to sum up, commitment to self.
yeah.
Our 3 pillars, the salt grounds that commitment. It's like they're woven together. The salt grounds our commitment. The sage embodies our commitment. And the stardust sanctifies our commitment. And those 3, there is no one without t'other. They're all absolutely connected. And, you know, that beautiful triangle, it's the first geometric shape that exists.
Yeah.
The triangle. There's a reason why 3 is so sacred.
Yeah. And
so
that's perfect. It is, yeah.
Let's jump into commitment to others. How is that different to commitment to self? And is one more important? There's a big question for you, Vicki. Is one more important than the other?
I don't think that they are. I think that they bring different perspectives or different energy. So commitment to others, I think, is because we talked about the commitment to the self as the foundation of this process of commitment. Commitment to others is how we extend it and how we reflect it out into ourselves and what commitment means to us, out into the community, out into the wide world, and even out into the cosmos,
Absolutely.
the connected part of who we are. So for me, I still feel like that they would wax and wane. So as the situation requires it, whether we commit to the self in that moment or whether we commit to others, that would be like a judgment call in the moment, because it really, without calling it a self-sacrifice, sometimes committing to something external to ourselves brings a different type of connection and growth that we would not have if we were doing it just for ourselves. It brings in a different an energy, which
It does.
again brings us back to our personal commitment to ourselves and our own self-growth. So it becomes this cycle, and the way that it weaves in with each other. But this is something that I would love to hear your perspective on that, Keryn, because I know that you have an amazing,
God, as I said, I've just had so much fun. Boundaries came into my awareness as I was doing this. Yeah. When it comes to committing to others, and, forgive me, I'm going to be taken back to standing and doing my wedding vows. I'm committing to living with another person. And when 2 people are going to be living under the same roof, boundaries are going to be challenged. And from where I sit now at 63 versus 23 when I got married, I appreciate the importance of me being able to say no to somebody else. And when an individual's boundaries are strong, our ability to say yes to somebody else comes with reliability, it comes with consistency, and showing up with a smile on our dial. Because from an individual's perspective, we have committed to our foundations. We are anchored in to who we are. Okay, we've rested, we're nourishing ourselves, and we know our boundaries. If we do not have an awareness of our boundaries, our ability to commit, number one, really isn't going to work for them or for us.
No, it'll crumble.
It just, I sit here now and go, yeah, well, why would you? But what I did back there, I did back there. It's my ability to understand now and see through very, very different eyes, Vicki. Seriously, very different eyes. So getting practical, we need to know our boundaries. We need to know that the word no, N-O, is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
And you can even be sad that you can't commit, but it's not for you at the moment. And maybe it's a no, not yet. But that committing to others, which, I'm born to jump in. I'll do it. Keryn, really? You've still only got 24 hours in your day, my love. I go, yeah.
I love that that you brought in the subject of boundaries, because that is a really strong indicator. I realise that it's a very strong indicator of when you can or can't commit to something. Once you know your boundaries, you'll know what, as you mentioned, where your strengths are. Sometimes it takes a couple of goes, as you mentioned. It takes
Welcome
a
to
couple of goes
life.
to know.
We learn through
Yes.
experience. But seriously, we do. We don't know what
Exactly.
overgiving is until we've overgiven.
Until we've overgiven.
And then you've got to go,
Yeah.
something's got to give. What can I do
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
And this really is where the sage bit comes in, because the body will feel it. If we are not whole,
Yeah.
and if we are in some form of depletion, and probably most people these days live in a space where they're simply, they're depleted. Let's call a spade, and they're still giving. It's again, it's not going to work. You're not going to have the clarity. And where's the integrity? Because if you say, I'm going to commit, there is inferred integrity for me in that yes. And yet, from a personal perspective, I'm not feeling it. There's resentment.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah. I think it's really important to differentiate the. Once you, I guess you will reach. You reach a certain point where you can differentiate the feeling of. Let me start again. I was going to say, when we're considering committing to something, we may have a reason why. I say, I want to commit to this because this is very important to me, etc., etc. Once we get into it, we may realize that that intention is not actually strong enough for us to continue that commitment.
Yeah.
And so, as we go along and practice this boundary setting, knowing who we are, that act of commitment becomes easier to work out whether we can step into it or not. And that those practices of saying yes to everything or no to everything, both of those things help us work out, well, is this really what I want to do? when we're talking about the sage part of it, for me and listening to the body, if we're committing to something and we're not really sure whether this is something that we want to do, my take on that, or my suggestion would be, is that you place that into your heart.
Yes.
And if it fills you up, you know that committing to something is actually a gain for you as well, because there's something that you're going to get from that commitment. It makes it sound a bit transactional. However, bear with me. The thing is that when we commit to something and we put those hours in and we show consistency and we show up, we grow from that. Like it still becomes the
Yes.
personal experience, because then that allows us to trust ourselves to the next thing that we want to commit to. It strengthens our understanding of who we are and what it is that we value. And we can say with a confidence, yeah, I can commit to that because I know in here that that actually speaks to me. Whereas if we're sort of jumping in because something, it thinks we're going to fill a gap, we know straight away, because as you mentioned, our body tells us that something's not quite right.
Yeah.
Our mind will override that, and we fail over and over again. But that is life. But work it out. You work it
I'm
out.
going
You
to
do.
throw in another perspective that can really, and I'm asking myself to be challenged in this, but we have energy cycles. So the moon waxes and wanes, and that
Yeah.
impacts on our cycle on a very personal level. The sun waxes and wanes. As our weather has seasons, each individual has seasons depending on what the planets are doing.
That's
We
right.
here in
Yes.
Perth have just come out of winter, but in winter, you wouldn't go out into the sun and look for suntan, because that's not what you do in winter when it's raining or hailing. It's energetically, we do have cycles. From a being a female's perspective, most women will have a menstrual cycle, and if you're blessed, you can feel it coming on, and you can judge yourself accordingly, as in what you're capable of doing or not doing, and honoring the space you're in. From a personal perspective, we go through seasons of, okay, this is a quiet time for you energetically, Keryn. Don't take on more courses and look at putting something out online. It's not that the time for you, Keryn, is not ripe. And it's for
Yeah.
me to trust the cycle of going, no, not at the moment. It's a no, not yet energy.
Mm.
But that really does ask us to truly be connected with who we are. And
Yeah.
yes, have some awareness of our natal charts and of the
Yeah.
transits going on. I know people that pull a card every day to guide them through the energies
Yeah.
of, of what's going to happen, because sometimes we need to be reminded that we as an individual are part of a space that is the world, and everything is energy and everything is connected. And the sun might be shining, but you're feeling so quiet. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to quietly sit out in the sunshine today. I'm going to honor the energy I'm feeling of
Yeah.
quietness and sit with it, sit in it. I'm not going
Yeah.
to whip myself, get up and go for a 5K run,
Yeah.
because the body is inviting you to go, today is one of those quiet days.
Yeah.
It's,
That. Yeah.
and that too is commitment on
Yeah.
every level.
Yeah.
And, I suffer from fear of missing out, and I'm asking myself to disengage from it. Keryn, if it's truly for you, it'll come around again and you'll get the ping to go, today's the day.
Yeah. That's for me. Like while we just had our full moon, our blood moon, and the couple of days before that, my whole psyche, my whole self was a bit out of whack. And so with that, I just committed to what I could do within my boundaries and rested as much as I could. And when you were talking about cycles, winter, summer, and astrological cycles, I started to reflect. There's also in my world, and I don't know whether I've shared this yet on the podcast, but I have a disability or something like a chronic illness, and every day is I'd have to decide, or I don't have to, but I decide what I'm going to take on and what I'm not going to take on. What do I commit to and what do I don't commit to? And there is no rhyme or reason to it. And so for myself, I've taught for my own self-preservation to listen to what's going on inside of my body. I don't always do the best job because I also have FOMO, fear of missing out, and sometimes I'll push myself past my limits. But it's a very real thing, is to be able to be in tune with what it is that you're capable in that moment. Sometimes it is other seasons. Sometimes it is particular days. Sometimes you might choose to do nothing on a weekend. Someday, you might leave your Saturday free for recovery. You don't commit to anything on those days.
Yeah.
So it's important to be in tune with what it is that you need on that particular day and what is personal to you. Whether you are, when you want to start committing to something or start thinking about throwing yourself into a particular task or taking something on long term. It's there's so many different variations of that as well.
Yeah.
Having said that, I know that whenever September rolls around, my whole body goes, woohoo! And when May turns up, everything tends to withdraw. And it's been like that since day dot. Yeah. And that's just observing myself. Unmaking others to observe yourself. Yeah.
Our interaction to the seasons is real because everything is
100%.
energy.
100%. Yeah.
So from a Stardust perspective, when it comes to commitment to self versus commitment to others, for me, the commitment to self in that Stardust perspective is really honouring my soul's calling, in inverted commas. And I know I'm on track and in the zone of genius, as our gorgeous friend Dr. Kate Dion calls it, because my heart is filled with joy. I feel it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a no-brainer. It's a heck yes. It's, and when I have those moments, there is nobody else in my world. It's all me. And I'm not thinking of what anyone else may feel, whether they agree or disagree with that moment. When I first saw my ex as he was walking off the dance floor, I knew in that moment, yep, you're the one I'm marrying. It was an absolute heck yes. And if he'd asked me to marry him that night, I would have said yes.
Yeah.
And yet when I shared with people, it took us about, I think it was 6 weeks before we became engaged. And even then people going, oh, how'd you know? I knew. It was mine. That was it. Just like when I knew that I had to now exit. I knew. I wasn't looking forward to all that fallout. But in that moment, I knew it was all mine. And that's that commitment to self from that that soul perspective, both SOLE and SOUL. It's ours. Whereas when it's the Stardust perspective of commitment to others, it's almost framing the importance of contract with others. It's the way in which paths get woven together. It's understanding that a yes with another person ripples out into the world it is at that moment bigger than the individual. You've got almost that synergistic response of the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. But again, it comes back to starting with the individual.
Yeah.
It so does.
For me, the Stardust perspective is almost aligning with your purpose. And you don't know that that's a purpose until that feeling that you're talking about, Keryn, that spark of joy, that moment that turns up where you feel connected to everything. When you've done something, you've committed to it, and that feeling washes over you. That is, to me, pure purpose. You take that feeling and you remember it. And whenever you even get a slight taste of it when you're doing something uncooked, committing to something, you know that you're in that space of your Stardust moment, your soul connection to all that is, because your soul sang in that moment. And it's not something that you can't manufacture. It is something like when you do this and you're in that space and all of a sudden it washes over you.
Yes.
And it can take you by surprise, and just you bask in it for that second. And you could always, it's just like, oh, thank you. And it does, it comes back to the self. Like
it really does.
It completes that cycle, that it takes us right back to that grounded, that salt part of us. It's like, yeah, this is why I'm here. And
also,
as I said,
when we commit to something that isn't for us, we also can have a feeling, I won't say come over us, but it probably hits us in the back of the head and we go, oh my God, what did I do that for?
Yes.
Here you go, really? Really?
Yeah.
And we go, yes. Did you stop and consider that? See, this takes me to the realization for me that commitment to others and commitment to self, they're not opposing energies. They're actually dialogues that dance together.
Yeah.
It's not an either or. It's this both and energy of the world that we live in. When self-commitment is strong, the outward commitments that we offer, they're clear, they're full of love, and they're sustainable because they've come from that place of strength within you.
And we've got space for it. We have space
absolutely
to act on it.
When we are in our zone of genius, thank you, Kate, we have unlimited space.
Yeah.
We do, because it's not an effort.
No.
But if we neglect ourselves, commitments to others, they become distorted, they're driven by obligation, resentment, and look out, we're probably burnout.
We burn out, 100%.
It's just, So commitment is pretty special.
Very much so. Yeah.
It's, we invite, well, I'm going to invite and speak on behalf of you, to invite the listeners to ask, how are you showing up for yourself and for others? SALT does teach us that self-commitment lays foundations for who we are and then how we're going to be out in the big wide world. Sage reminds us that balance and integrity sustain that journey, or as I like to call it, that adventure. It's just there. We absolutely can, and it's almost bigger than us. And that Stardust perspective whispers into us that every true commitment, whether to self or to others, is a sacred vow. And it's been written up in the fabric of the cosmos.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have to say, I'm going to write something in the cosmos. When we are true to who we are, true to other people, you know what? It happens.
It happens all on its own. Yeah. And it's magical. It's so magical. There's not even a word for it. Not even a word.
At the moment, I've just got the angels singing hallelujah. up in the background. It's, to me, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It just,
100%.
oh.
Yeah.
So, Miss Vicky, have you got your tarot cards, honey?
I do.
Oh, wonderful. Right. So, what is the intention? Okay, I keep asking you, what is the intention? When you pull a character, when I pull my oracle cards, I have a clear intention. It's like a question. Please give me a guidance on this. What is your way of getting guidance? How do you clarify that?
When I'm pulling a card, it's not something that sometimes I have a question, or sometimes I'll have a specific thing that I'm looking for. But sometimes I'm just looking for inspiration. It's like,
Okay. Well,
what do I need to know?
we've
Yeah.
been talking about commitment today, and we're inviting people to reflect on their own commitments, both to self and to others. So I'm being told by my team to step back and let you do it because this is your little bit. So I'm going to stop right there and go, Miss Vicky, do your stuff, honey.
Well, okay. So I'm going to choose a card. My team are telling me that this card is a reflection, or as in a reflect for the self. And I'm going to look at the meaning of the card and the upright meaning and the reverse meaning. So we're going to look at and use it as a launch, if you like, a launching pad for the journey of commitment for the self. Well, here we have the Three of Swords, another Swords card. We talked about that last week.
Do you have any other
I promise you, I do.
things in your deck? I don't know what you call them. Can you call them arcanas, suites, suits, whatever they are? Because you keep pulling out swords.
Swords, yeah.
But you know what? We obviously need them.
I was going to say, I never question the universe when it comes to that, because for sure another thing will come out.
Honey, I'm not questioning the universe. Please understand that. That's my head going, really? Another sword card?
I know.
So, Three of Swords.
Yeah, so we're looking at the upright meaning of the Three of Swords. This is when the truth comes out, that must come out. Three of Swords is grief. It is the deep grief that comes from betrayal and from something that is built up, and all of a sudden everything's out in the open and all the things are known. So when it comes to commitment, and I'm tuning into the card and I'll show it to you again, I see that unless we actually make that commitment to the self, there's going to be like a build-up and a build-up and a build-up of toxicity, of resentment, obligation, all of those things. If we're not committed to ourselves, those things fester and build up underneath. And the result of that is not only are we hurt, but those around us are hurt as well. It's not just something that sits with us. It ripples out to the community and out to the cosmos. So I'm going to say that I'm not going to do the reverse, as in sorry guys. The antithesis to that, the antidote to that, is that we say everything and do everything in the moment that needs to be done. Speak your mind, speak your truth, don't hide anything, be honest, build up, use commitment to build up trust, consistency, and a sense of look, when you do this, there is nothing to hide. When you commit to something and you are actually owning who you are, you're owning some process that reflects the person that you are. This will not happen when you are owning that process and expressing the person that you are. It will ripple not only, again, ripples out to the universe, but comes back to you as well in beautiful harmony, that dance that you talked about.
Yep.
So this is
Thank you.
a card of please take care of your heart. Commitment is a commitment to the self. Do that, be well with the heart.
I do love that. You're asking us to honour the promises we make to our heart.
We make to ourselves, correct.
And in doing that, we will be choosing to share that with the world, because that is who we are, and that is shared into the world.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you, my love.
Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me this evening for this conversation. I've loved it, truly. The aha moments I'm having doing this podcast with you, I could never have imagined that I would. Yes, the growth and on my perspective is just beautiful. I'm just loving it. So thank you very much.
It's a reflection of commitment. We have the
fact that
we have, well, we've committed to show up for each other and for our listeners, and as a result of that, through no other action than our commitment to the podcast, tenfold is the benefits that we're getting from it. The insights, the sharing, the learning, all of the things. So there you go. That's a outward expression of that commitment.
So thank you. And thank you to all our listeners for supporting us the way that you do. And please remember to check out our Substack space. Vicki and I are starting to drop little nuggets that are designed to help support you living your day-to-day life in this, rather turbulent, unsettled, chaotic world that we're all living in. But it doesn't have to be your world. So check out our Substack space. And Miss Vicki, I will catch you on the next episode.
Great. Thanks, Keryn. It's been a fun chat. Thank you so much.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.